How's it going, guys? I'm 8fightsback, and today I'm going to be showcasing my elemental crit Reave Berserker that I made at the beginning of Ritual League. I'm just going to start this off by throwing in this map here. It's got 40% Delirium Beyond on it in New Vastir with all of the Legion stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another Legion here. This is all I did with this build. I just farmed Legions in this zone. Anything else, this build's really not good at. This is not a beginner friendly build. This is expensive to make work, and it's also not hardcore viable because I could very well die on this map. We shall see. So the concept of this character is that I wanted to use Replica Abyssus for lots of damage. Okay, so first thing I need to do is kind of get things off the ground here. Okay, yep, there we go. I died. Cast on Death Portal, that was really nice. Let me switch back to Saint Stance. Alright, we'll try again. Once it gets going, it goes. Well. Saint Stance. Okay, third try. I do have a Vol Reave. We'll push that button. Okay, so now we've got stacks, and okay, now we can go. Legion. Okay, this will buff with the Headhunter. And I'm not going to loot this map at all, but just want to showcase the build here. Any second now, this should pop. A ritual here. So I wanted this build to be a build that could stand in the middle of a ritual and clear it. Now there is kind of downside because with the Replica Abyssus, if you get that bitter one that has the rotating cold beams, oh, you take so much damage from that. It's just yikes. But with Vol Reave, you can get up to 8 stacks of Reave, and your Reave AoE is much higher. Ooh, I got an Abyss in here too. So this is a Headhunter build. This is the first build I've ever made in this game, kind of themed around Headhunter. Like this build was going to do nothing without Headhunter. Like it's just no way of surviving with everything I put on this character. But I do have lots of dodge. I get elusive and whatnot. Here, let's pop another one of these. Hit the Vol Reave, make sure we're out there. So I'm starting to ramp up some Headhunter stacks now. There's nothing that increases the AoE, but like speed and damage goes kind of through the roof. There's something left in here. Okay, there that one goes. Got another Legion. This is the brings the juice. But like this is essentially like a remake of the very common like elemental like tornado shot builds that kind of do the same type of thing. I just built it on a Berserker and used a Reave. That's really the only difference. But when you do that, you really don't need to be as like reliant on something like an Orobot for your damage, because Replica Abyssus is so nuts. And I'll show off the like actual gear and the build and whatnot after I finish clearing this to my best ability. Uh-oh. Something tried to get me. Like that Flame Blast, like Replica Abyssus, instead of the increased physical damage taken, you have increased elemental damage taken. So that is where issues come into play in this build. Ooh, we got a boss here. He's dead. Hey, I got a small cluster jewel. I need to find the actual boss of the map. I also should note that if you're playing a Reave build, it is very hard to see Reave without the MTX on it, it's more like clear and white. It would blend into this fog so well. So like I didn't full clear this map. The worst part about it is looting this stuff once all your stacks and stuff are gone. A lot of the time, if it was too crazy in the map, I would just come back on my raider and loot it on that. But there we go. That's a map. Legions, anything with more rare monsters. This had Beyond on it too, and I had the Delirium on there. So that was a map. So here in my hideout, and I changed my mouse bindings, so let me put this here so I can dash. I knew something was wonky in that map. So my build here, as I mentioned, it revolves around Replica Abyssus. It gives you all attributes, tons of flat elemental damage, melee crit multi, and armor, the downside being increased elemental damage taken. So what I did here is I got weapons that had as much elemental damage as possible, attack speed, crit, ideal, crit multi is fine. I caught somebody selling off all of his gear. I got this really cheap, actually, so this was a big upgrade from the one I was using. This other one's kind of the same thing, really good. I wanted as much flat damage as possible, crit chance, more than anything else. I don't care about the speed. The speed comes from the build. So then, of course, like this is built around Headhunter. This wasn't what I used at the beginning of it. I'll show kind of what I did to level this character in just a minute. And then here I have Shadows and Dust with elemental weakness on hit. So this gives me Rampage as well as crit chance and multi. And yeah, Rampage is awesome. It drops smoke clouds on Rampage, so that increases my dodge. 2 of the Taming Rings fully anointed up with Turbulent Catalysts to give elemental damage. So what this does, so it has all res on it, but it gives you 30% increased elemental damage, which I'm doing lots of elemental damage. 30% increased elemental damage with attacks, so that's 60%. 20% increased elemental damage with hits and ailments per freeze, shock, or ignite on your enemy. And I'm doing all 3 element types, so when I'm critting, I'm freezing, shocking, and igniting the enemies. So that's another 60% damage. So you get 20%, so 60 plus 72. It's 132% increased elemental damage off this ring, and I have 2 of those, exactly the same. So that's a big boost of damage right there. And so much of the crit multis coming from here, you don't really need to scale it. And I've seen lots of players doing the same kind of thing with bow builds with Tornado Shot, and that's probably better, but I wanted something unique and fun, so this is what I did. So what else is there to show here? Amulet. Amulet has cold damage, annoyance, no witnesses for elusive, crit multi, elemental damage with attacks, and minus mana cost of skills, and chaos resistance. I think that is my only source of chaos resistance on this build. The chest, I think I Awaken Orb myself. All I wanted on this was I don't care about the life. I wanted chance gain frenzy charge on hit. I wanted attacks have increased critical strike chance, and I wanted an open prefix for spell dodge. That's all I wanted. So I haven't I could divine this up. I could go for Maven Orb stuff, but that's where it's at. I didn't need anything better. I don't care if this character dies at this point. That's why I have Cast on Death Portal. As long as I clear through the map and can loot it, we're good. The other thing here is the boots. I have chance to dodge attack hits on the boots. I have onslaught chance on kill on the boots. And I have Tailwind if you dealt a critical strike recently on the boots. I didn't get good movement speed, so you can kind of see just running around my hideout. This feels so slow. My other character was a raider, so that's what it is. And so flasks here. Catalyst, Eternal Life Flask Staunching. Very good with dodge builds. A Quartz Flask for increased dodge, remove curses. Diamond Flask, remove freeze. Max roll Wise Oak. And I'm triple balanced on the Wise Oak. This flask is the only way my resistances get capped, actually. And then a Alchemist of Adrenaline for so I got this movement speed, and then I got this movement speed with that flask up. So looking at my stats here, Vince, I am triple balanced on resistances at 51. So I'm not resist capped on this build. Because this is not a bosser. This is a map clear build. Kill as many rares as possible for Headhunter buffs. That's beyond that. This build isn't really good for anything. So when I push the flask, I'm here. So and that lets me have 15% elemental penetration, and reduced elemental damage taken for all of those elements. So it's kind of counteracting the Replica Abyssus just a little bit, but not enough to matter. Like, you get hit with hard elemental damage, you're dead. The biggest the biggest issues I've had are, like I said, the bitter rituals with the beam. Like, that beam kills me as fast as a Maven beam, and also Veritania zones. So in these zones, he sometimes creates these like circular cloud things that kind of rotate and do cold damage over time. Like, obliterated. Like, there's no chance to survive that on this build. So I try to avoid that. I don't do bitter rituals, and then for legion farming with all the juice that you can get out of legions down here, this contains 3 additional sergeants, so that's 3 additional rare enemies on both ends, I believe. So really, really nice. And then I get abysses in here too, just more rare monsters and whatnot. So like my slash played on this 2 days, 13 hours. So I didn't play much on this character. I leveled it to 100 and I farmed metamorphs and I farmed legions. I think I did some metamorphs up here with this, where you get the super juiced metamorph that just spawns on the map. I think I did some of that just a little with this character as well. But like, I didn't farm any bosses. That's it. It's just for those 2 things. Legions, abysses, metamorphs. Beyond and delirium are kind of good, but like, I was just mostly focused on delirium. So let's look at the passive tree, I guess. So this is a Berserker. I'm taking Aspect of Carnage. That's more damage taken. I think this is the last thing I took. This was my Uber Lab. Here I'm getting Rage on attack, plus 10 to max Rage. It would have been nice to get the triple effect of Rage and cannot be stunned, but I didn't. Like, the damage was better. Like, this is a do as much damage as possible type of build rather than mitigating things. So up here, you get increased physical damage if you've dealt crit recently, but you also get crit chance and multi. That's all I really needed. What I really wanted was the Blitz. So this gives you more attack speed per Blitz charges. You gain a Blitz charge on critical strike. And while it does reduce your critical strike chance per Blitz charge, the speed kind of makes up for it, and I definitely am overcompensating for crit chance in this build. So I don't really need as much of the multi because there's 122 here. I have some here. It's an implicit on most foils. So like, this one's insane, but that is the Ascendancy. So I like this build was leveled to, because it was kind of a meme. You know, I'll go into the details more of it after, but this build was leveled in pure Chila Breachstones, where you're dealing with physical damage and chaos damage. Elemental damage doesn't matter as long as you don't get hit by a volatile. Like, yeah, I leveled this build to 100 with 3k life, completely fine. I farmed most of the gear for the character on my rangers, so here we push up here. This is crit chance up in here with accuracy. Accuracy is pretty nice as well. So yeah, these are both crit chance. This is a large amount of life. If I was fully like specking damage, I wouldn't have these, but like, I do give it some survivability because I'm taking all of the fortify chance on the tree here and here, and I'm running fortify on my links. So the fortify is giving it a little bit more chance to survive. Here I've got crit chance and accuracy as well. Intelligence is needed. I think I might be taking it in both spots here. This is for AoE. Increased area effect if you stunned an enemy recently, and a bunch of AoE here. That is to increase the range of Reave. So Reave stacks AoE as you hit things with it, and then Vol Reave ups the stacks to 8. So when you Vol Reave, like you can raise the AoE even further, so that's why I was able to hit like the whole screen almost with it. Here, so, and then down here by these fortified nodes are crit chance, crit multi nodes. So I got all of these. And then this is crit chance and multi with swords. So I have all these nodes down here as well. I grab Call to Arms so that my Enduring Cry is instant. Those endurance charges help with mitigating physical damage. And wrong button. And then I grab these life here. Enemies can't leech life from you, so that's helping protect my life a little bit. So then I pushed up here. There's this Replica Conqueror's Efficiency. This reduces my mana cost of skills by 9. Without this, it would be much harder to pull this off, and gives me +5 to max rage. So this lets me push my rage up to 65 instead of just 60 from being Berserker. Here's another 10, so it's 75 actually. So attack speed helps me get more rage. I got Constitution because for 2 points you should definitely take that. And the last 2 points I put in here because I didn't know where else to put them. Coming across here, there's all res here. Here, this is increasing effect of flasks, as well as this down here. So the flask effect is really kind of pushing the crit and the Wise Oak. If I were just to get one of these, 8% flask effect, I don't know that would really do as much as the 16% flask effect. So we get them both. And then put this as accuracy on here. Push up here, I think this is my Corrupting Blood immunity with flat all res. Like most of the resistances, I was trying to get all res wherever I could, so I didn't need to worry about resistances as much elsewhere. So if you're stacking all res on everything, then it'll be fine. Crit multi while dual wielding, so that's more crit multi. I could have gotten a better one, but like I didn't care. This build does its job. So I push over here. More intelligence. Down here is elemental damage with attacks, and damage penetrates elemental resistances, so that's like more damage on the top. My Anointment up here gives me elusive on kill, 10% chance. That's additional spell dodge and attack dodge, with also more movement speed. And that in conjunction with Acro and Phase Acro gives me a decent chunk of dodge. Pushing down here, I have Heartseeker. This is all crit chance. I grab these life nodes. Flask Life Recovery boosts this. I think I mentioned this in my last video I made. Herbalism combined with Profane Chemistry is huge for an Eternal Life Flask with increased recovery rate. Stacks a lot. Get an extra Frenzy Charge here. This is all sword crit and multi. Along this, down here is more elemental penetration. And elemental damage during flask effects, so it's lots more elemental damage. This is attack speed and accuracy swords. This accuracy I'm getting was needed. And then this last little bit is crit chance while dual wielding with some accuracy. Big crit chance on the last note. So that's how I'm getting enough accuracy, is through all that. And then in this last jewel socket here, I have a Lethal Pride. I didn't spend too much time rolling for mods on these because it's going to add a mod to every single one of these. This one gets 4% increased max life. So I could be getting this for extra accuracy, whatnot. But you can see like this one has a Fizz taken as fire. This one has Intimidate. So the ones that I have, what I settled on, this one has 5% chance to deal double damage. And this has 1% life regen. This has 5% chance to deal double damage, and this has 20% armor. I was really happy with the 10% chance to do double damage, so I stuck with that. Getting more of that would be cool. This node is possible to take, but I didn't need totem damage. And I actually never used any of my like super juice in that fight. Like I have Vol Double Strike, I've got Ancestral Protector, and I've got Berserk. I can swap to Blood Stance, which doesn't do much. But I haven't gone over the gems. So gems here, in my chest is my 6th link with Vol Reave. Vol Reave is linked to Awaken Elemental Damage with Attacks, Fortify, which is the only way I could get it. There's probably better gems for damage here. Here is Elemental Penetration. Elemental Penetration is a special thing that comes from, I think, vendoring a unique replica Bitter Dream with a max level Fire Pin, Cold Pin, Lightning Pin. So you need all of those things. I'm pretty sure I made this one myself because I farmed so much heist at the beginning of the league. So this allows you to get all of your damage penetrating resistances, so that's really nice. Then I have a multi-strike. Quality on multi-strike is fizz damage, so I didn't quality this, and I never farmed up the money or cared enough to get an awakened multi-strike. Doesn't really matter. You can see the build held up. And then inspiration. Inspiration gives you more elemental damage per inspiration charge and increased critical strike chance per inspiration charge. So what this does is you gain an inspiration charge when you spend mana after spending a total 800 mana at max level. Endurance charge or inspiration charges go away. So if I spend mana, 2, 3, it's got to deal with the whole multi-strike. So now I'm at 5. Now, like if I spend 800 mana, those will go away, but my skill costs 1 mana, so those are basically permanent as long as I'm attacking. So I have 2,400 attacks with multi-strike before that wears off, which is pretty cool. So that's the base for the Reave. Let's see, what are the auras I have here? I have a Flesh and Stone, which I run completely in Sand Stance. This is to lessen damage from enemies that aren't nearby, blind enemies that are nearby. It really helps with dodge builds quite a bit, lowering enemies' accuracy and whatnot. And then I have a Blood and Sand. Being in Sand Stance gives me more AoE, and I'm trying to push the AoE as much as I could. So I never really, that's why those skills aren't on my main bar. That's where I normally have my auras and stuff. Them being down here, I can leave them on Sand Stance and not push the button. Normally here I have my War Banner. War Banner, I have a Divergent one, so it gives increased skill effect duration if I were to place it. This is mainly for accuracy and nothing else. And then if I drop it, I get the Adrenaline buff. And then I have a Herald of Ash. It gives me overkill damage as like fire in AoE. This is just for more AoE clear. And I have a Herald of Ice doing the same thing. Gives me flat cold damage to attacks. Just more clear overall. Then I'm also running a Berserk and Ancestral Protector. Ancestral Protector gives me 20% more attack speed. So that's a more multiplier on attack speed while the totem's active. And Berserk gives you more attack speed, less damage taken, more damage with attacks. So like I never needed to press Berserk in that map, and I stacked up to 75 Rage, so it would last a little while. But if I needed to, if I was say wanting to farm the Conquerors, like I could probably get, with Ritual, I could get enough juice in a map to go in there, drop Berserk, drop my Totem, drop my War Banner, and one-shot that boss. Like, there is damage potential there, but, like, I had another build capable of doing it, so I just farmed Legions. What else I got? Dash linked with Second Wind, Steel Skin, which is on my left click. Just a little bit of extra survivability, where I could get it, and during Cry for charges, and it's also instant. And then I get the Steel Skin buff here. It's another 2,209 damage I can take. And then here's my Cast on Death portal with Assassin's Mark. So, like Assassin's Mark, I never really used. I thought about trying to like incorporate it in against a hexproof enemy, but there's really no point. It was just there as a possibility. So, now let me show you some other little fun things here. So I'm going to pull up Path of Exile Racing. So I was rank 1 overall Berserker with this build. If I sort by Berserker here. So yeah, here's me with my Vol Reave. Lots of other Headhunter builds, but I wasn't using Headhunter at the time. I was using, and you can still see this here, gear I pretty much have sitting in my inventory. So, like, it's all visible here. You would have to look this character up on the actual PoE website to see it further. But it was Replica Abyssus. I had the tamings. I had 6-link Duresso's Defiance for the attack dodge. And I gained endurance charges with this and increased onslaught effect. And I'm gaining onslaught when I'm hit. So, it's really useful. I had a belt that stacked a ton of chaos resistance. Amulet, bunch of chaos resistance. So all this chaos resistance was needed because I'm going to be like doing pure Chiola Breachstones. And I'm really happy I got this rank 1 because the guy that wouldn't have gotten it had I not got it would have gotten his 3rd. Yeah, like this guy has 2 rank 1s and this is a rank 2. So I took that one from him. But you can see the initial like pure Chiola farming. This was for spell dodge. Like I was like dodge capped for all this. This hook sword, Tiger Hook, gives me an implicit attack dodge. So there was a lot going on here, and I was getting some base crit chance from a corruption on these gloves. So it's all pretty much the same. And then I was getting dodge, attack, and spells have been hit recently with some more flat damage and crit chance on this here. Phasing was coming from here. I was getting onslaught from this, so I never needed an onslaught or phasing. I worked that out other ways. I eventually transitioned it to my boots, as you saw previously. So now, there's another thing I want to show you, because no one else is playing Reave, right? So if I go to PoE Ninja now, and I want to look at builds, and then who is playing Reave, like, out of this, right? So there's lots of Reave builds out there, of course. People do lots of interesting stuff in this. So if I do Reave Vol Reave, here, this the builds, here's me. Like, since I was the first to rank 100 among this group of people playing Reave, I have no life. Doing all elemental damage for the most part, tiny bit of fizz. But all of these builds are fizz-based builds. So that's the main reason I really wanted to show this off. Like, all the people pushing Reave, they might be doing bleed builds or whatnot. But yeah, it's just the alternative here. Dodge-based Berserker. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't recommend this build to a new player at all. But if you're looking for something fun to play, if you can afford the Headhunter and just like putting this basic gear together, you can get decent swords relatively cheap. Like I still could have cleared that map with this sword that has 435 LED PS. This one has 341. Like I was carrying the clear in pure Chiola Breachstones 6-man using these 2 weapons with this whole setup. This was just kind of min-maxing. This one has 519 LED PS, and this one has something stupid like 758. So yeah, there's the build. If you're looking for another fun Headhunter build to try out, this one's certainly unique from as far as I've seen. So there you go. Like and subscribe if you want to see more Path of Exile content from me, and thanks for watching. Bye.